Modern gaming has brought so much to our lives, but it's completely unsustainable. From ballooning storage requirements to games going completely offline to vanishing content that you paid for, it's a mess. My favorite console this generation is the PlayStation 5. It looks silly, has an incredible controller with some of the lowest input latency that you can possibly get, still inexplicably lacks 1440p support, and has a wonderful games library. But I had to stop buying next-gen games altogether. Elden Ring? Haven't played it. Hell, Ghost of Tsushima? I own it, and still haven't played it. I bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla when I first got my PS5, and I still haven't even been able to install it. Why, you ask? Because I don't have the space. With less than a terabyte of actually usable space, I can only really keep a few PS4 and PS5 games installed at any given time. And if you're playing any of the popular multiplayer games, good luck even having a few other games installed at all. With the way I play games, it takes me a very long time to finish them, which means I like keeping a fair bit of my backlog installed to hop between. But I also love multiplayer games, and I also need to keep a couple consistent games installed for my sample captures for my capture card reviews as well. So this has been a problem, but not an exclusive PS5 problem though. I have similar issues on Xbox, but most of the bigger Xbox games I have been playing on PC first and just don't install them on my Xbox when space is limited anymore anyway. But hell, even on mobile, Call of Duty Mobile eats up like 15 gigabytes on its own. Maybe more, it's been a while since I've last checked on it. Diablo Immortal is 11 gigabytes. I don't have that kind of space on my phone, and I just have to keep them installed on my iPad as just a dedicated gaming tablet instead if I want to play mobile games. Back to the PS5, I finally said enough is enough, and decided that while I was already making, it my own with some dope paint splatter for my side panels, I went ahead and added in an SSD. I was already using a USB-C SSD for my PS4 games to keep them from eating up space on the internal drive, though I've consistently had bad luck where it just keeps saying that my drive is corrupt and needs reformatted, and then I lose a bunch of space and have to download them again. Despite using multiple known good SSDs, it seems overly sensitive to disconnects and hiccups. But PlayStation 5 has an empty M.2 NVMe slot available for you to put a second SSD into. It's gotta be a fast one to play PS5 games directly from it, one that can keep up with the internal SSD. For this, SK Hynix sent me one of their new Platinum P41 SSDs. These are PCIe 4.0 SSDs that can write at 6.5 gigabytes per second and read at 7 gigabytes per second. They are wild, but they get very hot. A big issue when putting drives in your PS5 is you can't just put them in bare. You need a heatsink or a cooler for them. For this, I actually went with Sabrent's dedicated PS5 cooler option. They sent me this with a big 4 terabyte drive that they sent over for my new workstation PC build. While I would absolutely love to drop 4 terabytes into my PS5, I can't justify it when my PC needed it instead. But the PS5 heatsink itself is only $16, and I would strongly recommend getting this with any drive that doesn't have a beefy cooler with it already. To get started, pop the side panel off of your PlayStation 5. You do this by lifting up at the corner near where the PS5 logo is and pushing up and to the right. It took me quite a few tries. I thought I might break it at first, but then it will shift loose and be easier to remove next time. Then you remove the screw, holding this thin metal plate down, and remove the plate. Then you remove the screw and the little metal spacer ring below it at the top of the slot. This is used to screw in your drive at the different sizes. Insert your SSD. If yours came with a pre-installed cooler, just screw it in with the spacer and the screw that you unscrewed a minute ago. If it doesn't, remove the top sticker and then install it, and then grab your Sabrent cooler. This uses a sticky thermal pad to stick to the drive, absorb its heat, and distribute it away from the drive. It actually replaces the metal slot cover that comes with the PS5, which is pretty neat. If you're using a normal drive with its own cooler, just leave it alone, reinstall the metal plate over top of it, and you're good to go. This is why I recommend getting the Sabrent cooler for any drive that doesn't have its own cooler, because it's more robust than what a lot of drives come with in the first place, and replaces that little slot cover to give you way more cooling space and ensure that your drive stays cool. I love it. Close up your PS5 and give it a boot. It'll ask if you're sure that you want to reformat your drive for use in the console. This will delete everything on it, of course, and then it will run a speed test. If your drive is too slow to run games from, it will give you a warning and tell you that here. But as you can see here, we get a nice 6.5 gigabytes per second speed with our SK Hynix P41 and we're good to go. But before you start installing new games, make sure you go to your storage settings and tell your system to install new games to the new SSD, or you're still going to fill up the internal drive. This is also a good opportunity to go ahead and shift some games around, balance out your space, you know, that kind of thing. I can finally crack open some of those games that I haven't had a chance to play yet and get them installed and updated. And I can also download Apex and Warzone finally to my PS5 to try. It'll just take a while, a long while. You might be asking why I'm focusing on the PlayStation here and not the Xbox that I also have storage troubles with. Well, the Xbox doesn't use a standard M.2 connection, instead relying on a custom expansion slot, and the drives just aren't at the right price point yet that makes sense to me. They've been out for 2 years, and a 2 terabyte Xbox expansion drive is still $300, $50 more than the brand new top of the line SK Hynix SSD that you can use in any, just about anything. It's a ripoff, as CF Express usually has always been. Now, we did cover some new kind of conversion adapters on Streamers News last year, but those only really support 2230 size drives, which Steam Deck owners know are very tough to get in useful capacities and speeds. Soon, someone will figure it out, though. I've also done this process on my older consoles too. My original Xbox, my PlayStation 2, and my PlayStation 3 all run 2 terabyte SATA SSDs inside, housing tons of games and making sure that they're loaded and ready to go for the future. While SATA SSD speeds don't really help for normal gameplay on older systems, they make a world of difference when scrolling through big game lists or transferring games to them. And after years of fighting with slow hard drives for PlayStation 2 transfers, it was finally worth it to me to just get a SSD and throw it in there. Keep in mind, pretty much all those older systems will support a max of 2 terabytes. The only one left hanging is the Xbox 360 with its proprietary file system setup, and I think it's possible to swap the drive. I just haven't figured out that madness yet. The thing is, it's not just about storage. Oh, boo-hoo, don't have enough terabytes in your hard-to-get game console to store your $70 games or Game Pass downloads. First world problems. The past 5 to 10 years have also seen massive amounts of gaming experiences just completely vanish and become unplayable or inaccessible, even if you paid for it. From vaulted content in Destiny to server shutdowns, leaving owners of Lawbreakers out their money with only a few short months of possible playtime, less if you bought the physical release through limited run like I stupidly did. It's so bizarre to me that I can still go back and regularly play nearly every single classic first-person shooter that I played 10, even 20 years ago, and make lots of videos over on the Lost Save channel for, by the way, wink wink, but so many that I was late to the party on or didn't get much, time in the first place from the past decade are just gone. They're just gone. This isn't by accident. Publishers have made it standard practice to stop supporting player and community hosted servers. Offline bots, LAN party support, all of the features that were considered bare minimum requirements for so long are just gone. Combine that with mod support being something that younger gamers see as a revolutionary new concept when it used to be weirder to not exist before drip feed DLC became a thing. It's hard to want to buy into new games when you're not sure how long you'll actually get to play them for. I've mostly been talking about multiplayer experiences, but this does affect single-player games too. There have been weird licensing disputes affecting music in games like GTA and Rock Band, of course, but this week Ubisoft just announced that they're sunsetting a lot of their online services, which not only takes multiplayer experiences for their older games offline, but it also means that PC players won't be able to download or access their DLC for their older Assassin's Creed games. Content they paid money for. How is this acceptable? And kids wonder why boomers like myself prefer having all of our game content safely stored on mirrored frisbees. Hell, even those aren't useful with newer consoles, with entire Twitter accounts being dedicated to whether or not you can just play a standard single-player game without internet access, even with a disc. And then, of course, we get to the business models within the games themselves. Look, I've been around a long time. I may dress like a 12-year-old, but I've played shareware games where you get a shady floppy from some small store or are expected to mail a check off to someone's home address listed in a text document on the disk or downloaded from some listserv. I've seen the rise of and the backlash against map packs and mod distributions, expansion packs, hidden levels discs that you picked up from third parties, up to the drama of DLC existing at all, with day one DLC being the worst thing ever, horse armor, hats, retailer exclusive pre-order bonuses, now to this insane drip feed live service model. Every step of the way, paying more for a game than the original asking price has been seen as nothing but greed and the worst thing ever. But only a few short years pass before that strategy becomes the norm and gamers get squeezed for more through some new idea. Publishers have made it so it's basically seen as desirable to release unfinished, buggy games at launch with all the multiplayer maps and modes that would have normally been part of the $60 package or a $15 map pack release being packed into a battle pass or a season system instead, because if they just released with the healthy set of maps in the first place and didn't have a 9-month-long DLC roadmap planned, then there's no content and it's gonna immediately be a dead game, because it doesn't support the Twitch streamers having news to talk about all the time. Now that's also crumbling via games developed during the pandemic too, not holding up. Gamers aren't exempt either, letting developers get away with 7+ years of games released with horrible performance and frame pacing that requires literally 2 lines of code to fix, all because it lets them be complete assholes to those who don't have the patience or skill, or just have disabilities, to make it over the difficulty curve. 2 lines of code. Lance figured it out years ago. Would have been an easy patch then. There's zero excuse for it to still be a bug now. And on top of it all, gamers have to reconcile with the ethics of not supporting games developed by a bunch of rapists, but also knowing that not supporting those games doesn't exactly hurt the right people to begin with. And plus, those same publishers have been cannibalizing other studios that keep making their own amazing games to then become janitors for their cash cow games instead. Part of the reason gamers lose more and more ownership over their games comes from the trade-off of them being more and more social experiences. Everything's online now. But the more gaming communities I feel I have to distance myself from because every fandom just becomes a toxic hellhole once they become big enough, the more I question if that was ever the right idea. Remember when the internet was something that we logged into and logged out of and left all of that behind for the rest of the day once we did? I don't know what the answer is. I don't even know why I'm making this video. I don't usually like complaining about stuff. I spend as much time as I possibly can unfollowing and avoiding people who just love to simmer in the constant negativity surrounding gaming. As to me, games are supposed to be, you know, a leisure activity that you use for escapism and fun, and soaking up constant negativity about it every day just rots your brain. But something's gotta give. Was this video just an excuse to finally upgrade my PS5 SSD and show off the new coat of paint that took 3 times to do right because things kept going wrong? I mean, maybe, but I also really just wanted to get some things off my chest. Modern gaming is unsustainable, and I'd really like the powers that be in the industry to figure their shit out before the whole empire crumbles down again like it did in the past. I love games. I spend every day immersed in my favorite games, surrounded by them for a reason. Let's not lose everything we built. I want my kid to be able to enjoy a new game without waiting for hours for everything from his console to his game to his controller to his TV remote to have to update all the time, or to have to uninstall his favorite games just to try something new and to, you know, not miss out on incredible gaming experiences just because the vocal flock on Twitter said it was doo-doo because it has women in it.
Learning about console mods and OBS scripts is great, but what if you want to take your content to the next level or establish your business? My good friend Alex over at Low Spec Gamer has an entire course dedicated to high-spec content on a low-spec budget, which I love the title, by the way, with Nebula Classes. Yes, our creator-owned video streaming site now offers full-length classes and Nebula Talks with guest lectures. New classes are added every week. It's a brand new part of Nebula, available for just $80 per year at nebulaclasses.com/eposvox. If you're already subscribed to Nebula with our Curiosity Stream bundle, so you see all of my exclusive content and all of that, then it's only a $5 upgrade, which is pretty baller. You get lots of educational content in an ad-free, higher quality format, plus top creators sharing their knowledge and experience in classes. Sign up today.
Remember how games used to be. Remember the magic. And remember, be kind, rewind.